Yeah, so the original, and they have the first name.
Alright, everybody. Alright. As our opponent stated in the beginning of their rebuttal, there are good and bad points to social media, but that's as in everything in the world. What I would like to say is that it seems as though the good points of social media would outweigh the bad. Our world has revolutionized in ways that would never be expected almost 2,000 years ago. Since the beginning of time, they've been using things like newspapers, even like scrolls, just for ways of communication. The only way that we've changed since then is that we have used our resources in ways that we can help the earth and not having to use paper or anything like that. Social media, through our growth and evolution, it's the same as using newspapers and stuff like that, but through the electronic means, we're paying more attention to the earth and not using papers, newspapers, and stuff like that. The media serves as best means for a speedy spread of news about important incidents or even talking about places. What has happened in the remotest corner of the world can reach us within minutes thanks to the media. The speed that technology has achieved is helpful in times of crisis when media is to be used for reporting news needing immediate attention.
The affirmative said that they mentioned the media over and over again, using that phrase, the media. The media is not one gargantuan entity. It is comprised of countless different little parts. The internet, the CNN, NBC, they do not all work as one giant faction that determines the fate of the world. That is just naive thinking. It is comprised of individuals with user-generated content and consumer-created products, all of which are necessary in a free market economy. Also, they said that it was widely regarded that the news was full of speculation. Well, yes, the news would be full of speculation. It's called editorials. That's another word for speculation. If we take their original definition of media, the mass form of communication, then if we consider that in the U.S. public's best interest, communication throughout the United States of America, then it will undoubtedly be a more positive influence than negative. Communication is necessary in order to coexist with our fellow man. Communication has been necessary to. It has been often the lack of communication that has led to disastrous consequences, such as wars, civil wars, all over the world, but more specifically in America. And most importantly, yes, there are negative aspects to media. There are pictures of models and things that would make young girls or any other group of people make unwise decisions. There are these things in media. I concede that. However, there are also the means in media to provide the exact opposite, and it is done just as frequently. There are the ads for health. The propaganda is used to confront bulimia and anorexia much more openly than it is to condone it. If we asked this room who thought bulimia and anorexia is okay, would we say, no, yes, it's completely okay because the media has brainwashed me? Not likely. The media provides a huge tool in which to combat these unfortunate occurrences. There are counteracts to everything. Media has, you can say that media has had an effect on people smoking. Well, there are also huge media campaigns to stop smoking. Now, so that balances itself out. Media itself and all the countless possibilities and the awesome potential it has still, as it evolves, it lies in the U.S. public's best interest. I fall back on my original 3 points. The stimulation of the economy, something that every country, and particularly the USA right now, needs. Media is a valuable tool in providing jobs, finding jobs, and making money circulate. Second, the creation of user-generated content, or in other words, expressing yourself individually. The the ability to propagate your own ideas and your desires and have them fulfilled in what you buy or what you create. And 3, it facilitates work. Everything is made a lot easier by things such as the internet and the news and Facebook. Things are easier. Not as much time is spent. Humans are evolving into a much more efficient form of being. Everything is going faster. Yes, some may say that is undesirable, but we are adapting to changing ways. And as everything becomes faster and more efficient, we are adapting the only way we know how. And media facilitates work. It is unimaginably valuable. It has inspired Americans in times of war. It has disgusted them as well in times of war when appropriate measures needed to be taken against war crimes. The media is a multifaceted entity whose avenues and potential is unimaginable. The ways in which it can be used in the future, not even thinking about the ways it can be used now, are enormous. Facebook, the internet, all the things on the internet, CNN, newspapers, literary journals, scientific journals, also a form of media. All these things are propagating learning and the accumulation of knowledge, which is necessary in the growth of any human being. So again, the stimulation of the economy, user-generated content, and the facilitation of work. All things which can help the U.S., which lie in the U.S. best public interest. And with this, we continue.
Alright, we're good. You can start. Okay. Alright. Great. I agree with my opponent that there are many parts to media, and that is technically why we were talking about it as a whole, because in the resolve we were talking about the U.S. media as a whole and not one specific part. And although, yes, there are good aspects to social media and expressing oneself, there are many negative aspects. And as a whole, the media should be regarded as something that works against the best interest of the public. I have to question who determines appropriate. The opposition said that their appropriate that the media helped to prompt appropriate action against certain things, and who determines what is appropriate. A select few behind the cameras, the reporters, people that are hired they were not elected by the American people. Why are they determining what is appropriate when opinions are placed into news stories, which are not supposed to be opinions? Editorials and news stories are not the same thing.
I'd also like to say that, yes, the media has solved problems like, a lot of people become addicted to smoking, so we start running advertisements and commercials and putting newspapers that smoking's bad. Okay, but media also caused this problem. Sure, they're fixing it, but it wouldn't have happened in the first place if we didn't have all these ads about, smoking's cool, da-da-da-da-da. The media has caused so many problems, and just because they fix them does not make it right. Yes, we're advancing our technology, but it's not always a good thing. In most cases, it's really not, because with more power comes more responsibility, and also there becomes more opportunity for corruption. And because everyone has such free access to speak their mind, and free speech, free press, like all these things we have in the U.S. Constitution, they're using it against our own country because they think, I can say whatever I want, and now it's affecting somebody else. That is against the best interests of the public when you can't control what somebody else is saying. It's good, but the negatives of it outweigh the positives.
If I could reiterate something that the negative side says, the media has all the means to do something great. Yes, but they also have the means to do something terrible. Personally, we think that the power should be to the people and not the power of suggestion. the power of suggestion in the media has a large impact on the American public, and if the media has all the power to sort of channel the thoughts of the people, well then that isn't what we want. We want to be able to think for ourselves, just hear the facts, and be able to create our own personal opinions. The media should be objective. However, it is not. Most of the time, it has implied certain things, as in the speculation, when it's not an appropriate time for the speculation to be placed into these stories.
And the media has the power to control what they're giving us in a way that they can twist and bend the facts to make it towards their liking. So you can either get a straight story or you can get the media story. Overall, when someone has a financial agenda, it's not easy to look at what they're saying and think, oh yeah, this is exactly right, this is exactly it. When they're just trying to make money, it's turned into a business, not what we want it to be. We want to just get the straight facts, but they would bend them and tell you what they want so that they can make more money. And I think that's against the best interest of us.
All right. I think, give him a hand, guys.